Hello everyone, I'm High Treason, and what we're going to do is we're going to force a load here. And see if that chocolate bar falls out, and whether it does or it doesn't, I'm chucking that basket on the side of the road. But yeah, continue what I was on about before. You've got to bear in mind, I don't have a lot of money now. Wow, I guess they did change that, didn't they? Cool. In any case, yeah, I don't have a lot of money now. Like, I spent it on the synthesizer, it's gone. And one thing you have to consider is that the value of that thing could drop. At the moment, it's sort of still going up slowly, so it's actually worth slightly more than when I bought it. I don't want to sell it. I wouldn't ever want to sell it. And it was very difficult to spend that amount of money. It's more money than I've ever had to my name before, and I'm just going to spend it on a thing, just one thing. That was really sort of hard to do. It was weird. It felt so strange. But yeah, the thing with that is if I did want to sell it, I could lose money. Because, yeah, sure, if I sold it now, I'd actually make a profit on the profit. But as time goes on, you've got a generation of people coming up who've never used a real synthesizer. They've done everything with some stupid fucking cray-eating plugin in some stupid fucking software that doesn't even have an event list editor. And they're not going to care about these real synthesizers. We do have shit to clean. I never cleaned the fucking sun visors. Ah, shite. Well, that's low on the priorities list. But, yeah, and, well, those people ain't going to want them, so the price could really go down at that point. It won't bother me, because like I say, I don't intend to sell it unless I end up where I can't pay my fucking rent or something, and I have no choice. So I could lose money, but on the other end, if people don't care about them, then the numbers of them might dwindle even more. And I have the advantage of the fact I know how the thing works, and I can fix it. If mine breaks down, my odds of repairing it are actually quite good, generally. It's all big through-hole stuff in there. The schematics are available, and to be honest, I don't... Well, it's... The majority of it's like all single last, like PCBs anyway. It's so easy to read the circuit that I can repair the vast majority of it just by looking at it. I'd maybe need to look at a chip data sheet here and there. It's really, to me, like just bread and butter electronics in there. So there is that advantage to me that my one is, I can fix the damn thing for as long as I can get parts, and a lot of people have to pay extortionate prices to some service guy. I don't have that problem. Where I do run into issues if, say, the Odyssey breaks, like if the filter in that died, it's a thing that's all potted in resin, and yeah, good luck fixing that. I think somebody did reverse engineer it. If they didn't, and mine died, I would have a go, because if that part was dead, I wouldn't think twice about gouging it to pieces, I mean, here's what I never understand, is when something's definitely dead, and people still have this aversion to, like, cutting it up. It's like, well, if that part failed, the synthesizer would be useless anyway, it wouldn't work. And so, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to just look at the synthesizer forever and, like, accept defeat? It's not going to work ever again. Another fucking Dacia. It's fucking haunting me. It's haunting me, that car. Or, you could cut the broken part open that's potted in resin and try to see how it works. And, well, if you can figure out how it works, then you might be able to just build a new one of that part. Like, the fact they put it in resin like that tells me that there is no Alan Robert Perlman specific component in there, that it's probably all off the shelf stuff in that resin. And that means that we can probably just build another one of them and stick it in there. Now, obviously, some, purist would get very angry about this and be like, oh, you're not using an original art filter. So, that's, you can't do that. It has to be an original art part. I mean, there's people who don't like the fact that I shoved electrolytic capacitors in my Prophet 5. The thing is, there's no reason to not do that, because the tantalum capacitors are horrible fucking things, and they probably only used them at the time it was made because they were pretty cheap, like comparatively. Maybe, I mean, there's less materials in them than there is in an electrolytic capacitor. They maybe thought they were more reliable because there was no liquid in them, and at the time, like, the characteristics of electrolytic capacitors maybe weren't quite as good. Like, if they needed to work quickly, if they needed low ESR, well, electrolytic capacitors at the time tended to be very well made compared to a lot of the ones you get now, but the ESR was not as good as quite a lot of the ones you can get now. These days, any halfway decent electrolytic capacitor is going to do the job. They're mostly just there, like, to basically just stop noise getting into, the power supply for the ICs. So it's not really that important, but it's like, no, it says, like, tantalum. It's like, I don't care. Like, the characteristic is fine, and, the failure mode of the electrolytic capacitors tends to be a little bit more friendly. That the synthesizer and the computer on it are actually quite sensitive to issues with the power supply, and so if those start going bad, it'll start doing wacky things a long time before they just go short and blow up. At least if you use the thing quite... I guess if you put it away for years and they fell, maybe turn it on and just go bang, but I use mine quite a lot, so you would think I would catch it starting to go dodgy. I would be like, hey, this is... it keeps picking up phantom inputs I'm not pressing. It keeps crashing the Z80 and everything. And then I'd go in and fix it, because I'd be like, oh, well, there's obviously a failure somewhere, let's try and figure out what that is. And I stick my fingers all over the board and see if it changed the way it was behaving. I can't afford fancy test equipment. I have some oddball ways of fixing things. They've got me this far, so, Yeah, they're not special, they're not special sequential circuits capacitors that are like specially made for that one device, and you must always use those. Like, electricity is electricity, and the characteristics, if they're good enough for the job, then they'll do the job, and yeah, like I say, any halfway decent electrolytic capacitor today is going to do well enough. Now, if it was in an audio signal circuit, it would be different, because the characteristics are different between the two types, and if you're shoving an audio signal through it, then it probably will affect the sound. So then I would still use tantalum capacitors for that job, because I don't want to affect the way the thing sounds. I just want to make sure it works, And the original ones were, a lot of them were going short circuit. Some of them were short circuit, and that was causing me a lot of problems. It was making the thing unstable. It was making the power supply run hot. It was causing me all kinds of tuning issues. It's like, I don't need it to be broken. So yeah, it would be the same if that potted filter in my Odyssey failed. I would try and gouge the resin off it and try and figure out what the circuit does, because I don't think it's complicated. I would build an equivalent circuit if I couldn't repair the original, and I would stick that in the synthesizer, and it would work, and it would be impossible to distinguish the difference in all likelihood. I mean, there is always margins on electronic components, so it might affect something, but it'd be very small, So the Odyssey's an older synthesizer, it doesn't have a computer in it or anything, so pretty much everything in there is analog. It's all just controlled by loads and loads of differing voltages. And so, you know, say if a resistor went bad in there and I replaced it, it might be tangibly different to the original in some tiny amount, but probably no more than the margin for error was with the original factory parts. You know, pretty much no two passive components like that are identical. There's always a little bit of back and forth, like in any of them. There would be such a small difference, you know, it would be something like, I don't think you'd notice unless you did it really quick. Like, say, you know, you played a note, somehow managed to take the synth to bits without knocking any of the sliders, replace the part, and we're assuming you're replacing a working part now, which would be pointless, stuck the new one in and then played the note again. Like, maybe you would, if you could do that in a few seconds, you might just pick up on, the resonance is like, you know, slider there is 0.01% like different now. But you would be, like I say, within the margins for error of the device anyway. It'd be as different as getting another Odyssey 2 that was made the same fucking week as mine, you know. People are pretty weird. People are the same with computers in some cases, you know. I've seen it with like people who are into OEMs, you know, Packard Bell sorts and that. You know, I've seen a couple of them get kind of upset if you don't use something that was spec'd specifically by, you know, the OEM who made the machine. You know, you used this sound card. The company that made the machine wouldn't have used that. They specified this sound cards. You should use one of those sound cards. You should use this video card. So, I mean, who the hell cares? Like, the machine's working. It's doing the job of the person who owns the thing. You know, it's serving the function they want it to serve. And at the end of the day, then surely that's good enough, right? That's all it needs to fucking do. It's not your machine. Who gives a fuck? Like, advise people, that's fine, that's different, you know, like, say if there's no issue with it, like, hey man, you know, it's cool, you know, just beware that sound card has an interrupt issue that causes it to crash in Nukem 3D, so, you know, that's not been a dick, that's been, like, informative, that's just coming and saying, hey, you know, I've just been, if you run into that issue, now you're not going to spend like 2 hours scratching your head trying to figure out why, well, it shouldn't be doing this, why is this happening? You know, now if you run into it, you're going to be like, oh, that guy said about this, that must be the interrupt issue he told me about. But then the guy who owns that thing, he might not play Duke Nukem 3D, and so he might never run into that problem, and might just not give a fuck about it. Well, I'm not allowed to play that game. You know, what does this have to do with me? Random number plate. Our car doesn't have one on its front. Let's attach it. There you go, car. It's not your number plate, but no one's going to know. We'll just tell them it is. That's how it works in real life. You can just change them, like, whenever you feel like it. You know. That's why they come off. What's in there? Vortar. I don't need Vortar. Run away. We broke his stuff. I'm going to blame you. Jerking off. Jerking off. It's really fun. In the setting sun. I won't let the sun go down on me, 'cause it'll burn. I won't let the sun go down. It's still got ways to get it does. Yeah, my sponge is busted. Ah, crap. Let's see if there's any other cleaning products in here. I can't actually remember what our starting distance was. And you know what? I don't care. We're getting. We're ahead at this point, so I'd rather not fuck that up, but at the same time, pretty certain we can get head again. We did say about the sun going down on us, so I mean, he won't let it go down on him, maybe I would. Yeah, you can imagine the bragging rights if you got the sun to do that. That'd be fucking awesome. Yeah, I don't know why, but these last couple of parts I am suddenly really mindful of the potential to run out of gas on the way home. I think we've fucked about enough, so it's not urgent that we clean those visors. So we're going to go to sleep, then we'll put that sun visor back on. I'll tell you what, I don't mind finding somewhere that sells this brand of cigarettes, because, well, how many days has that been burning now? And it's not burnt down or nothing, you know, it's just burning steadily. Yeah, I think that one's about fully done. This one on the other end has a bit of a ways to go. Maybe 2 more stages. That's not too hard to deal with. We probably have cleaning supplies in the frunk. The infraggable crunk. Somewhere. Jeez, man, I hated the monkey in Dexter's lab. I hated him. I wanted him to die. Just seemed like such a self-righteous little prick. See, I remember that had an episode like that Taz one I talked about, like where, you know, Dee Dee was smashing Dexter's lab up and he was just crying, but in that one, like, you know, it didn't have that same mean-spiritedness about it that that Taz episode did. Like, you know, it was still kind of mean, but at the same time, you know, Dexter had kind of caused that himself, and so it didn't feel out of place. And plus, you know, I'm sure they had some sort of contest or something, and I don't remember the specifics, but I'm sure she won fair and square, you know. It's like, well, Dexter, you was a dick, you know, and she beat you fair and square. It's fair game. Like, you know, yeah, maybe it seems a bit excessive, but this is what you agreed to. Please don't be in the road, I'm just getting used to driving this car. What is this now, part 36? Must be part 36. I don't car. No cars. We've been doing this about 20 minutes now, I think. Oh no, I'm just guessing, just by the distance we're at. I sort of have a rough idea where we started. But yeah, yeah, no, it did it better. Because in that Taz episode, there was definitely no reason for Taz's sister, I can't remember her fucking name, I heard that show. There was no need for her to like start killing his plant or his goldfish or whatever it was she was killing, but, you know, and plus the fact she was killing a thing. It wasn't like in Dexter's lab, you know, Dee Dee's just smashing up a bunch of lab equipment. Like, yeah, sure enough, you know, it's not nice, but his lab equipment's not a living thing that had no hand in the decision, you know. It's just not. So, you know, it was definitely the better show of the two when the stupid monkey wasn't on it. I hated him. I hated him. Couldn't fucking stand him. Angry Beavers was a good show. I need to get the full fucking set of episodes of Angry Beavers, and I must have some respect for that. My lighter fell halfway across the room, so I reached to grab it. Then realised I was in into a post. Yeah, I have some level of respect for the people who made that for the kid-friendly episode. Because when you get the jerk behind the kid-friendly episode, it's 10 times more fucking funny. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's quite easy to find, I would think. Not the episode, it's impossible to find episodes of that show on the internet, but at the moment, used to be able to. They haven't been up on the net for years. But yeah, you know, I'll leave you to figure the joke out for yourself. Kind of sad when it's the cartoon that's supposed to be silly that has to do these things, isn't it? Oh dear. Dear, dear.
Dear me, boy, and what might you be doing? We won't tolerate that in my school.
You're not going to have a choice, mate. I attend your school now. I found some photos from inside my old school. There's not many of them exist. The building doesn't exist anymore, so yeah, the old Brayworth Academy. It wasn't really called that. Just a couple of us called it that, because if you went there, went near it, to be honest, you're probably going to get brayed. And what's funny is some of the pictures I found are from a day when I was involved in a braying, because some kid tried to stab me in the hand, and it was in an art class, and so I got the modelling wire, sort of folded it over on itself, and just stood behind him, pulled it round his neck, and just stood there with my foot in his back, you know, giving him, you think that's fucking clever? You're gonna fucking do it again? You think you're fucking clever, dickhead? Like, and of course, I choked the fucker out. I didn't even get in trouble for it, because I hadn't been at the school that long. And the cool thing with my school is that they understood that these things happen. You know, before he'd stabbed me, he'd been hitting me and stuff. And I was like, don't do that, mate. Like, I know what you're doing. I'm new at the school. You want to test it out? Don't fucking test me. You'll get hurt. So, of course, he went to stab me. And all that happened was the D&T teacher came, took me out in the corridor, and is like, well, you know how it is. You're new at the school. They got to test you. He's probably learnt not to do it now, so we'll give him 5 minutes to settle down. And so he just talked to me for 5 minutes, and then sent me back in the classroom. He's like, there, you can sit over there, like, away from him. If he comes over and messes with you again, it's his own fault for being stupid, because he should know better now. He'll probably try being your best mate tomorrow. And of course this lad did, you know, he's, alright mate, how you doing? Fuck off. Oh no, it's like you said, you know, you knew at the school, I didn't mean out it, fuck off. Oh, come on, don't be like that. No, fuck off. Why? Because I don't fucking like you. Fuck off. It was my school worked, you know? And we hated every other fucking school. We especially hated Andrew fucking Marvel. Scum. Hated them. They weren't even the closest school to us, but we fucking hated them. And they had their own shops at Greenwich Avenue. It was like the next estate, like up has a road called Greenwich Avenue with shops. And the shops nearest our school was on Elmbridge Parade. We went in there once on like our break, and there was these two lads in fucking Marvel uniforms in there. It's a wonder they didn't get the shit beat out of them, because it's usually what would have happened. Because we're walking around the fucking co-op, and it's just that from fucking Marvel. So we went walking up, one of them did a runner, one of them turned and sparked at us, so we're just shoving him like, you fucking doing in here, dickhead? You fucking come round here for? Get up your own fucking shops, mate. Get back up fucking Greenwich. Not fucking shopping in here. This is ours, mate. This is fucking ours. We threw him out the fucking front of the shop like we picked him up and threw him through the door. Like, don't fucking come back down here. Because we'll fucking come up Greenwich and then you will have a fucking problem, won't you? We never saw him again, so they must have got the message. You don't shop in another school's an Irish shop. It's just rude. Them's our fucking shops. Fucking Archie was between that and Marvel. We never really saw them. I think they walked farther to go to fucking Greenwich rather than come near my fucking school. Like, you know, they were cowardly, that school. They never seemed to get in scraps with us. Fucking losers. Fucking losers. Like, anyone's here who went to that school, you're all a bunch of fucking pussies. My school will fucking parade your fucking school any day of the week. Fucking what? There's like fucking like 30 people in my school. You know, you as school were like what, fucking 150, 200 fucking students or something. My school kick your fucking school's head in. Fucking easy, my school would kick your school's head in. No fucking contest, mate. No fucking contest. Don't fucking come round there my fucking school. You're fucking braid. I mean, that's how it used to be. Like, but like I say, we never ran into them because they were too pussy to come down the fucking our end of the fucking road. The only school we liked was Lister, and Lister was the other fucking brutalist architecture shithole school, you know, that was regarded as being crap. And that was the only school we sort of got along with, you know. It's like, oh no, they're alright, the Lister lot, you know, that causes no shit. They stay out our way, we know people from there, so we're doing alright. But yeah, fucking Marvel, fuck off. Fucking Archie, fuck off. Fucking Newton, fuck off. And Lambert, you can fuck off and all. And Perry, fuck off. Just fuck off. And don't come near my fucking school. Which don't exist anymore, but... Your schools are boring, you didn't have like stabbings and stuff like yours, because people... I didn't get stabbed in the hand, I moved too quick. People did actually get stabbed in my school, so... You know, my school was fucking brilliant. It was way more fun. Seeing as the subject of female urination has come up quite a few times throughout this, I really don't know why. It does follow me around for some. It doesn't seem to anymore, or it hasn't for a few months now. So yeah, maybe, but yeah, my school had this bright idea. There was no girls went there for so long, and because a lot of the building was condemned and we couldn't go anywhere in it, they tore out the girls' lavatory and turned it into a storage cupboard. So you had this kind of maze of shelves, and that was it. But they didn't change the doors. You still had these doors painted pink with brass lettering saying girls on it. The boys' room, there was only one of each. The boys' room, blue doors, brass lettering, boys. Empty room you had to walk through where you'd get jumped if you'd pissed somebody off. And then beyond that was this big, dark, empty fucking room. I'm going to stop there. Big, dark, empty fucking room with one cubicle, and next to that, one urinal. And of course, when girls start going to school, it's like, oh, shit, what are we going to do? Didn't tell the poor girl what to do, so she went in the room that said girls. Nobody noticed, and I was sat in the corridor and she just comes wandering, that's fucking shit this school, they got to piss in a fucking bucket. The English teacher's like, what? It's fucking shit this fucking school, got to piss in a fucking bucket and everything. It's like, oh god, you haven't. And they made her clean it up, and I felt bad for her, because I mean, how was she to know? No one had told her. She's not going to go through the doors that say boys, is she? I mean, yeah, maybe she weren't that smart to not figure something was wrong. And perhaps she was really busting, just didn't think about it. But, you know, I'm actually like, oh, come on, that's not fun. I can clear it up, you know. She didn't do it on purpose. She's kind of needing to do that, you know. So what do? Turn it back into a girls' room? No, just send them to the fucking boys' room. And there's supposed to be a teacher stood outside the door to make sure no one else goes in. The teacher's not going to do that. So you'd wander in, and, you know, you'd see under the fucking cubicle wall just these pink and white Nike trainers with a pair of tracky bottoms, 3-stripe Adidas's and pink knickers around the ankles, and it's like, oh shit, you know. The cistern above that bog was a fucking pole chain one, it was a really old one, and so what you'd do is you'd stand up on the urinal, you'd put your foot on it, lean over the wall and just bash the lever as hard as you could and soak the poor girl's arse. Never got old. We just did that every time we could get away with it. And then you'd have some poor chav girl come waddling out, you fucking dickheads, you fucking dickheads, what are you fucking doing? Couldn't do that to Gun Girl, she was too smart, she wouldn't sit She just used to fucking stand, so she didn't have that problem. And I wouldn't have do that to her anyway. She'd have fucking kicked my head in. I liked her. She was cool. You probably guessed by her name that she brought a gun to school. She brought a handgun to school. Yeah, she was brilliant. Gun girl. Oh man, I had such a crush on her. Really violent girl she was. I liked her. She hated other girls. Fucking hell, she'd fucking lace into them. I remember walking out the D&T classroom once, and she just had this other girl pinned to the floor in the corridor. She's just leaning right into her. You think you're fucking clever, do you, bitch? You think you're fucking clever? What are you gonna fucking do now? What are you gonna fucking do now? You fucking slag. You're fucking clever. Alright. I'm like, howdy. I'm not asking. I don't ask questions, I just walk on. I used to love watching a beat up on other girls. I do like watching one girl dominate another. I don't know why. It's just this thing I have. I'm not stopping though. We're getting a lot of those buildings now. It's probably the last one we'll see for ages now. You watch. Tall, slim, red hair, wore lots of camouflage. Yeah, she used to just show up like wearing camouflage trousers and stuff. There was no uniform in my school. Oh man, she used to look so good, like in all her army gear though, like she really did. Like I don't think that works on most girls, but like somehow she could really pull that off. Like it actually looked good on her. I thought the shadow of that post was an object in the road. We've got about 10 minutes left here. Oh man, I had such a crush on her though, I really did. The amount of fucking wet dreams I had about her. She knew the whole time. I never said anything to her because I wasn't stupid enough to say anything to her. Like, usually I would. I was never scared to approach a girl, but, you know, with her it was like, well, there's no point. She won't be interested. She's not into that sort of stuff. And, she went to prison in the end, and she knew she was going to prison. Like, they kept holding off her court case so they could try her as an adult. I don't know what she did, don't ask. It was none of my business. And, like, you know, we're leaving school, and she just suddenly turned round to me like, you fancy me, don't you? And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. I'm going to get my head fucking curved in now. But the one thing that would piss her off is if you lied to her. And it was one of the reasons I got on with her. It used to scare my teacher, because I'd be fucking blunt with this girl. And I was one of the only people who got on with her, and that was why. Because it would piss her off if you lied to her. If you just told the truth, she was fine. And so, you know, I mean, she couldn't trust you. You can't trust someone who fucking lies to you. I'm ignoring that off the side of the road there. I think the radio guy mentioned him. But, yeah, you know. So I'm like, well, yeah, you know, I just never said out because I don't think you'd be very interested. It's just like, yeah, well, I'm not. Like, you know. I'm like, oh, okay. At least, you know, at least I won't regret, like, not saying anything then, you know. It's just like, yeah, no, it's not personal or nothing, you know. It's just like, I'm not into that. I got too much other things going on. You know, it's just like, I'm too busy for that sort of thing, so... You know, it's not really, it's not something I think about. It's like, you can have my number if you want it. I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, it's just like, no, you can have it, but it's not going to be very useful. I'm going to prison in about 4 days. I'm like, well, that's probably no point then. She's like, just have my fucking number and then you can tell everyone you got it, can't you? So I got that number. And then she went to prison, so it was no use. Who won that one? Good God. I hope they didn't send her to a women's prison. They must have sent her to a women's prison. That must have been a fucking absolute shit show. And you say, oh, she'd probably get beat up. She was fucking hard. I don't know. I think she'd have probably bred half the inmates. Yeah, she was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I don't think I'll ever meet another person like that in my life. Not quite the same. She was fun to hang around with, you know. A little bit volatile. And very good at arguing. I used to love arguing with her. It's what used to scare the teachers, because we'd argue, but here's the thing, like, she wasn't the sort of person who would sit there and mouth. If she was going to bray her, she'd just fucking do it. When I used to argue with her, she used to fucking smile. Like, you know, we'd both be smirking, because we knew it was bullshit, you know. It'd be over something silly, like, you know, you'd be like reading a book or playing a game of pool or something, and you just sort of make fun of something. You know, yeah, says you. Yeah, fucking, you what? Fucking chatting shit now? Fucking, you're fucking chatting shit. What are you going to fucking do about it? You want to know what I'm going to fucking do about it? Yeah, what are you going to fucking do? We'll fucking see what I'm going to do in a minute, won't you? Yeah, you'll find out when you're working up in the hospital. Oh, really? Why? Because you, that's going to be like, you know, like I'm going to wake up there and find, like, you're in a coma or something. Yeah, you think so? Yeah, but I know so. Oh, really? You scare the hell out of the teacher. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It really was fun. I wasn't looking at the road then. Gonna get bread if you come in my school. It no longer exists. My school, it's gone. Also, should we just go out to that? Nah, let's leave it. It's another haunted house. Yeah, my school's gone. Newton's gone. Archie's moved. Marvel, they fucking rebuilt Marvel of all the fucking shitholes to fucking put back. And that technically makes Marvel the last one fucking standing, because Lister's gone. Fucking bastards, I fucking hate Marvel. I still hate them now. I always make sure to spit if I go by there, like, you know, I'll spit on the fucking sidewalk in disapproval. Because I'll go up on that neighbourhood, you know. People from our school go where the fuck we want. Go where we please, and we please where we go. So, you know, we walk on their neighbourhood, they're just not allowed to walk on ours. Schools don't do this anymore, it pisses me off. Like where my old house was, they built this big new school and it has this massive white wall. And I've never once seen a single piece of graffiti on that. On my school, we had walls outside that they painted white, and before the guy had even got to the end of it, we'd be there with fucking spray cans, putting our fucking tags on it. Well, aside from you always got the odd idiot kid who wrote his full name. Because idiots. Jeez. Yeah, what a disappointment. They don't get in big brain fucking matches with other schools no more. I mean, for fuck's sake, it must be so boring being a school child now, you know? You don't get to do any of this stuff. I mean, I'm not into scrapping or nothing, but it's just part of the school experience, you know, and you have to do it. You don't do it. I mean, it's why they test you when you first go. It's why they start a fight with you, is to see, you know, if you can defend yourself. Because if you don't, they're going to keep beating up on you because you're making the school look weak. And so when a scrap would break out, you're obliged to join in with it, because otherwise it's making the school look weak and your school will fucking hate you now. So whether you want my school to hate me or I want the other school to fucking... Well, they hate us anyway, because like, we're not from their fucking school, so it's pretty clear cut. And anyway, they go at a different school than me, so they're a bunch of dickheads. because they go out of school I don't go at, and therefore I don't like them. You know, it's pretty tribal, the school system. It used to be. Like, it was just the norm in my time, and it doesn't seem to work that way now. Now, maybe that's better in some way, I don't know. Maybe I'm just old now to touch now or something. But it had worked the same way for countless generations before I got there. That was always just the way schools worked. That you hated the other fucking school. There was always one you hated more than the others, and you would fucking make sure they knew who your fucking school was, and that they shouldn't ought to mess with it. People are just puny now, they really are. It's disheartening. It really is disheartening. Well, we're probably going to be stopping the next building, so I am about out of time and I need to go to bed, so... You know, I can't sit here and play this all night. I could quite easily do it if I wasn't as tired. I actually don't feel real tired, and that's actually a nice change, because I have done lately, so... Like, when the day gets to the end, I felt absolutely fucking knackerized, so... Yeah. I guess you've heard a little bit about my school life. I don't think I've talked about that very much on this channel before, so... Yeah, now you know what sort of school I went at. Hull, the town I come from, officially had the worst schools. Oh shit, I should have stopped at that building. Fuck it, let's just push on. Let's get another building. Shouldn't be too far, you want to be miles and miles. Yeah, we're going at decent speed though. As long as we don't hit that mountain in the distance, we'll get another building. But yeah, my town officially had the worst schools in England, and my school was officially the worst school in Hull. David Lister was like after mine, from what I remember. So really, it was the worst school in England, and I don't think that was far, because the staff who worked at the school, brilliant. And, you know, a lot of the fucking, like, problems was the council just wouldn't give the school any money. It's like, well, how are you ever expecting the school to improve when they can't even afford fucking stationery? The food was that bad, all we got was Magnolia. The school next door got actual food, so we used to rob it from him sometimes. Used to confuse the food man, because he'd come to our school in his van second, see all the plastic orange container things like in the entrance. I already been it, well, it says I got to bring this trolley here, so... But it was so bad that a lot of the staff, like, they pitched in, bought 4 used commercial toasters, and would buy bread out of their own pocket so they could give us fucking toast, you know. That's how rotten my school was treated by local government. And then they're like, oh, your school's like really awful because you... It's like, well, what do you fucking expect? You don't get any money. Like, the school needs somebody to function. It doesn't just run for free. Idiots. Fucking idiots. They never give us a chance, you know. No, it's just like, oh, they're the fucking shithead kids off them shithead estates, you know. What's the point in giving them a chance in life? Don't bother. Just give their school no money. You know, just give them fuck all. There's no point. They don't need, like, opportunities and shit. Nah, just fucking leave them. They don't need an education, do they? Fuck that. Right. Well, here we are. This is where we're going to be leaving this part. Nothing really funky happened to the car. Nothing really funky happened to us. But it was quite a verbose episode. These keep showing up now. Cockage 281. I might take that, you know. It's time to start collecting lit cigarettes as well. Stop giving me yellow paint. I don't need yellow paint. Reminds me of, like, why would I want my car to be morning pea yellow? Mine's usually not quite that colour, but it was green sometimes. The stomach medication I was on before used to have it like copper oxide blue. It was actually quite a nice colour. Because it would disrupt enzymes in your digestive system. Let's have a look what distance. I don't know what our starting distance was, but we'll find out what our ending distance is. It is 1870. We have done, if my math is correct, we have actually done what? 85 kilometres. That might actually be a new record. That is actually crazy. Yeah, I can't remember what the farthest was we did in the Vaz, and I'm kind of too tired to calculate it right now, but... Yeah... I don't know, but in any case, Semi-Treason, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I think we're just a little bit over time, but whatever.